1, 2, 3, 4. I told you so. I told you. I told you so. I told you. Remember when I told you about 9/11? Remember when I told you about Building 7? Remember when I told you about the fluoride in the water? Yes, I did. Remember when I told you about the New World Order? Remember that?
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of McKill's Deck Chronicles. My name is Kenny Williamson, and I'm going to be your host today, and I'm going to show you and talk to you a little bit about one of the new headlines that's out there, and that is that ex-President Joe Biden has prostate cancer that has went to the bone, and so that's pretty much a terminal type deal, something you don't recover from. So I thought that might be a pretty good time to show you what I think, and I don't think that Joe Biden has been alive for several years. Okay, so the headline is that he's, got cancer now and going to be dying here pretty soon, chances are. Just kind of like, Jimmy, the ex-president, Jimmy Carter, he died here a while back, supposedly. Obviously, he was, whatever they showed on TV, was a corpse of some kind. But I remember reading articles where he had died several years ago. And can't hardly find those articles anymore. But, they've never claimed that Joe Biden has died. But let me get this picture back up here. I want you to take a look at this picture. Okay, the picture on the left is Joe Biden from, 2016, something like that. And then, of course, this thing we have on the right is what you'd call current Joe Biden. It's clearly not the same person. It's not even a close fake. It's what it is, though, is they pretty much have scrubbed everything from the left picture offline. So all you do is see the picture on the right. So most people think that the one on the right there is the current Joe Biden. It's not how I remember him. And if you listen to videos, you can find videos on the original Joe Biden speaking versus this new thing, whatever it is, this abomination they have out there. Okay. And they don't even sound the same. They don't make the same words, nothing. But I've got some other pictures I want to show you. So that was just the first one. We'll get back to it. You can obviously see there's a difference. Now, some people would say, oh, well, the one on the right has been facelifted up and everything like that. Well, you're going to have a lot of medical procedures to go from one to the other, okay? And I have one here of the ear, and I read an article where a plastic surgeon looked at this picture, and he said they don't do this to ears. This is not the same person. Okay, so I'm not the only one that thinks it. So anyway, let's go to another Biden picture here. This is a picture of the real one on the left with his signature versus the new thing that we have now with its signature. And obviously, you take a look, completely different person, completely different in every way, completely different. I don't think anybody could look at those pictures and say, that is the same person. And not very many years apart. Okay, let's take a look at another one. I've got several of them here. Let's take a look at this one. this one here shows the real one on the left, fake one on the right, and it shows how, if you look at the guy on the left, the real Joe Biden, his ear is detached. He has like a hanging earlobes. The one on the right has a connected earlobe. If you look at the distance between the nose and the upper lip, the one on the left is short, the one on the right is longer. You can look at the bridge of the nose. You know, the one kind of goes straight up and down on the left, the one on the right, you know, they've got it drawn out for you there. And then you've got the obviously big freckle or scar on the forehead, which is no longer there. So, you know, chin looks completely different and stuff too. Now, if the guy on the right is Joe Biden, you know, he's been heavily altered as far as some kind of a plastic surgery, you know, and so he had to have went down a long time to get that kind of work done. And whoever did the work ought to be ashamed of themselves because he looks absolutely horrible. So he looks more like the living dead than he does anything else. Now, you know, I have been watching this stuff going on between, you know, Trump and Biden and just all kinds of stuff. And the consensus is that this is all fake. It's all staged. Everybody doing this stuff on TV is some type of an actor. Okay. And it to me, it seems like that's probably the case. And I know for sure that what they do is they find somebody to fit an agenda and they keep using that person. And even if that person dies and they think that they're still, you know, viable for their agenda, they find a replacement. Now, I believe this exact same thing happened, of course, and lots of people do. This is just not my opinion. This same thing happened with Stephen Hawking, if you remember him. I got a picture of him of Stephen Hawking here. Here's a picture, excuse me, of Stephen Hawking from the 80s or whatever, before he completely degenerated. And he had a disease called MS. And once he was diagnosed, which he was in this chair here, you can't speak, you lose, you know, you can't use your muscles, none of that. And I think one of the longest records of anybody living with this disease is like 7 years. Okay, well, they figured out that they could use him, claim he's a genius. Maybe he was at some point, but he's supposedly a genius. And, of course, he doesn't believe in God. He's an atheist. He believes in evolution. He believes in outer space. And so that's what he tells you. And so what they do is they stick this guy up here like a puppet in a chair. He can't speak. He can't tell you any of this stuff. But they say he knows all this stuff. And then he begins to come up with, you know, theories about time and space and, you know, there is no God, that kind of thing. And so they put him up on a pedestal is what they do and pretend that he's such a genius, he's godlike, okay? And they portray this to these young kids and people with feeble minds. They believe it. They're like, oh, look at that guy. He's so smart. He's crippled, and that makes him even smarter, okay? You can't ask any questions because the guy's in a wheelchair and he can't speak, so everything that they say about him must be true, right? Well, the only problem is okay, I don't know that he said any of the stuff. And what they did is, I don't have a video of it here, but I'm gonna get one. I've seen the video. I just don't think I got it recorded. But when this first started, he couldn't speak. And they've got a video. He literally is sitting here, and I'm not making fun of him, okay? He sounds like this. He just goes, that's what he does. And they have a guy sitting there looking at him the whole time like this. And they ask him a question like, what do you think about space? Okay. And he sits there and does this for like 5 minutes. And a guy's watching this, and then this guy turns to the camera and he says, he said, in the beginning. And he goes on and on and on. And it's like, that guy didn't say that. And they perpetuated this lie for years until finally the gig is up. I mean, nobody in their right mind would believe somebody sitting there going, rah, 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 that only one person in the whole world can understand what he's saying, and that person is his translator. Okay? That gig was up. Nobody believes it. At some point, people are like, you've got to be kidding me. I think even whoever was putting this fake stuff out realized this could no longer go on. Okay? It was absolutely ludicrous. So then what they did is they took a little wire, like right here off his glasses, just kind of come down, looks like a little bent wire, looked like something, a bread tie type wire, okay, with some little thing dangling on it. And this little thing dangling on his glasses is somehow reading his mind, because now he doesn't even bother to move his mouth. Now it's reading his mind, and it translates whatever his thought patterns are to a computer and then to a voice. So then you ask him a question, he sits there, he never moves a muscle, barely blinks an eye, he can't move at all, okay? He just sits there, and then a robot voice comes back and answers whatever question it is. So we all know, or you should understand, that's fake. At the time this was happening, I don't even know if there was any technology that existed, okay, that can read your mind, okay, off of your glasses and project your thought patterns into a computer, and then the computer talk for you. Okay, excuse me, I'm crunching on a cough drop because I'm still not 100% over not the flu or whatever's going around here. A lot of people are sick. So, this was before Musk and Neuralink and chips being put in your brain and all this kind of stuff that they supposedly can do now. Okay, this didn't exist. So what this was ridiculous. And of course, like I said, this is a picture of Hawking, the real Hawking, and he did die. He probably only lived a few years after this. And then they replaced him with this guy. And, I've got pictures of these two side by side. And, again, it's like the Biden thing. Completely different head shape, different ears, different teeth, different height. I mean, completely different head shape. Like the original Stephen Hawking had like a narrow, tall head. This guy's got a perfectly round face and head. Stephen Hawking had brown hair, and before he, some of the later pictures, he's going gray, but it's clearly brown with gray. The new guy comes out. He's blonde. He's got blonde hair. Don't hardly have any gray in his hair. Stephen Hawking, they've got pictures of him sitting there with his mouth open before he died, but before he, became this new person. And his teeth are completely rotted off all the way down to the gums. There is no teeth. They're just black little dots of rotted. Okay? This new one here, he's got real long, tall teeth on his bottom gums. And they're just sticking straight up, and because his gum is receded. And it's like, well, he's got completely different teeth. He actually has some teeth. The other guy didn't have any teeth. And so if a person, I've heard people say, oh, well, he went to the dentist and the dentist fixed him up. And it's like, you talk about an incompetent dentist. I mean, what did they do? He had rotted off teeth at the gums before, and then he comes back and all of a sudden he has a different face. He has different hair. He looks completely different. And now his teeth are different, and they're all fixed up, but they're horrible. They're horrible teeth. It's not like they're false teeth, because then they might look good. They're horrible-looking teeth. So, but they're completely different than the teeth he had before. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people just don't pay attention, if they just don't care. I don't know. But, we've got this, one of the things I noticed here, I've got a picture here of back to Biden. Let's take a look at him here real quick. This is a picture of him. It came from a magazine, and excuse me, I think it was called The Onion. But either way, this is a picture of him, years ago. He's out here washing this car, one of his cars. He's supposedly a car guy. Now, you take a good look at his left and right arm. He's got tattoos all over his arms on the top. Okay, you can see them. They're there. He's got them. No doubt. In fact, there's been some other pictures where it shows his upper arms and he's got these tattoos. Well, here recently with the new Biden, okay, this fake looking plastic devil Biden, they show him, getting, he's got a doctor and he's getting his vaccines, and he raises up his sleeve. No tattoos. And it shows him on two different occasions getting, a shot and a booster or whatever he's getting, has to do, with these vaccines here recently. And no tattoos. He's got a really hairy arm and no tattoos. So when I had found this information and read an article about it, of course, you have the people with their heads stuck in the sand. They said, well, he had his tattoos removed. He went in, let's see here. Is this him? Let's see. Let me find him again. Here we go. He went in, he had a little work done. And, he kind of cleaned up his face a little bit and, changed his forehead and had his ears sewn on and the bottoms and, completely redid his whole entire face. And he looked a lot better in the picture on the left. So if they're calling this an improvement on the right, this is that's far from an improvement. Okay. So if this is what you're calling good work, somebody needs fired. They're like, yeah, he went in, he had a little work done, and had his tattoos removed off his arms. Why? I mean, he wears a long sleeve shirt and a suit jacket in every single picture, every single thing he does. Why do he have his tattoos removed? Why do you have a complete face? It's not the same guy. I mean, it doesn't look like the same guy. I don't believe it's the same guy. And I think he's some type of an actor. I think they've had multiple actors that are, filling in, possibly a rubber mask. I don't know. A lot of people say they've seen seams, and there's one video where he's scratching his neck and it stays all bunched up, or where he touches it, it looks fake. So obviously they've got some kind of prosthetics on him. He's all doctored up. It's either a mask, something. Stage makeup, I don't know. It's a Hollywood type production, and you can see what they do in Hollywood. I mean, they can take a person and make them look young. They can make them look anything they want. It's all fake. It's all fake makeup and prosthetics and probably CGI and AI and everything else. So it's no telling what they're capable of. I mean, we know it because you can watch a movie and see what they're capable of. So this is something they're doing with that. Why, I don't know. Obviously, the original Biden, I mean, he must have died. I don't know how or why. Maybe they killed him. I really don't know. But whatever this thing is that they have out here now, I've got another picture of him. Look at this thing. I mean, look at him. I mean, you talk about a fake-looking, nasty devil. I mean, he doesn't look anything like the original. Okay? Nothing. This is some kind of, it's a clown, is what this is. This is a clown show. Okay? And look at his mouth and everything. So nobody looks like that, especially at his age. So this is something. I don't know what this is. I call that picture the Biden devil. There's something not right about what they're doing. They're doing this. They put it right on the news. They put it in front of your face. Not sure what's going on, but now all of a sudden he's supposedly got cancer, prostate cancer, and it's went to the bone. So what they're saying is that takes like 5 years. And so in other words, the whole time, the end of his presidency, he had this cancer, and they knew about it, but they were lying about it, and, shame on them. I think it's all for sympathy for the guy. He may or may not have cancer. I have no idea. But this guy is some type of an actor. Maybe he's sick and tired of playing the role, and he's having to live out this stuff. So I think they're wanting to retire their actor. Somehow, some way, they want him retired. They want him out. So now all of a sudden he's got this cancer that, takes 5 to 7 years to come around, and he's got it now, and nobody caught it all this time, even though he's had all these checks and screenings. So in other words, he's almost dead. Gonna be dead any time probably. And so, they've got all the old people, Obama, and just on and on and on, all the actors, all the people from, Hollyweird. Oh, we're praying for you, Joe. We're praying. You guys are devils. You act like devils. You murder children. You murder babies. You're into pedophilia. And now you're praying? Who are you praying to? I mean, that'd be a good question to ask. Oh, we're praying for you, Joe. Who are you praying to? The devil? Because you're all devils. Okay, you're all in on this thing together. You're all pedophiles. I mean, it goes on and on and on, the stuff you're doing. You're money laundering, you're stealing, you're raping, you're killing. And now we're going to get on there and say we're praying for you? I mean, who are you praying to? I mean, it's not the God of the Bible. It's not the God that I pray to. I mean, you're definitely not praying to Jesus Christ. I mean, because why would you? I mean, everything that you've done up to this point, the lies and everything, the pedophilia, the whole 9 yards, and now you're gonna pray. Don't bother. Unless you plan on coming clean and changing your life and actually getting saved, I wouldn't even bother, because I promise you your prayers are falling on deaf ears. Okay? You can't be an acting pedophile, an acting murderer, and in with all these big companies that are, you're getting these things right here, and people dying left and right, okay, and you laughing about it and collecting millions and billions of dollars for it, and coming to find out, you've had to do this stuff for years, and now you're going to pray? Whatever. Whatever. There's no point in it unless you're praying for forgiveness, and you better do that before it's too late, because we know where you're going to be going. You're going to be going to hell. Anyway, I found another interesting picture. This is one, and you can watch the YouTube video on it where he was sitting there, old Biden, and it's interesting because he's, as you see, I have a bookcase behind me. These are just regular old books, and supposedly this is what is behind Biden here. And the problem is, do you see the white books in the circle there? What does that look like that says? Out of all those books in that case there, you see ILIE. You see that, right? So, coincidence? I don't know. Maybe it was somebody who set up the bookshelf before he got there, couldn't stand Biden, and so he set it up like that. But do you see what else? Do you see anything else suspicious? Let me go back to it. Let me go back to this thing here. You see anything suspicious there on the right? a globe. So, I mean, just think about this picture here. We have a fake actor, fake president, sitting there in front of a bookcase, because this clown probably can't even read, okay, sitting in front of a bookcase where it just so happens books spell the word I lie, okay, coincidence, right? And then, it would be to his left on the right of the screen, well, there's a big old globe. Looky there. So, I mean, you need a globe. When you do a Hollywood or a Hollywood show, you've always got to put a globe in it because, I mean, Satan's agenda has to be done. So one of the biggies on Satan's agenda list is you live on a globe. You evolved. You big banged. Okay? Everything happened from nothing. You're nothing. Okay? You're a speck out in outer space, insignificant. In fact, there's lots of other bigger, better planets than this one. Don't you know that? You're nothing special. You came from a frog, from a toad. Okay? A chicken. Before that, you were something in the water like a larva. Came from nothing, from rain, from rocks, from billions of years of evolution. You're all here by chance. That's what that globe represents, in case you don't understand that. Okay? I used to believe in the globe. So I'm not going to call you ignorant if you believe in the globe. Okay? Because I used to believe in the globe. I believed in it because I was indoctrinated. Okay? I had never been told the truth. And when I went to different church buildings over the many years that I've been a Christian, church building pastors will not touch on the subject of the globe, of dinosaurs, or anything like that. And the reason they won't do that is they don't want to run off their paying clientele. Okay? So lots of them forego the truth, the full truth, okay, to keep a paying customer. Now, that's sad because a lot of people want to hear the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right? But you're not going to get that when a pastor is standing up in front of you in their little pulpit and their whole salary is based on how much money you pay in. And especially if you're lost or if you're a weak Christian and you don't believe half of what the Bible says, you've never read the Bible, and then if somebody tries to tell you what it says, you don't want to hear it, or you'll leave, well then he can't tell you the truth then, can he? I mean, he can beat around the bush. He can tell you the gospel, and he can tell you it's all about love and everything, but as far as getting down into, listen, there's two places mentioned in the Bible that you're going to go. You're either going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell. Okay? And, well, don't try to scare me into getting saved. Why not? I mean, do you think it sounds fun to have your skin burning off in hell? I mean, if you know what the outcome is, why not scare you straight? I mean, that's what they used to do when I was a kid. They actually would take you on field trips to the county jail. And it was called Scaring Kids Straight. Okay? The whole point was, we're going to take you on a field trip and show you what happens to people who break the law, and this is where you end up. You're in this cage. They tried to scare you straight. Okay? So a kid would be like, "Oh, well, I don't want to end up in that cage with 4 or 5 guys in a cage back over here." Well, then don't commit the crime and you won't have to be in the cage. You see, so they show you what the worst case scenario is. Okay? So you don't want that. You don't want to go there, so you don't do the crime. It's the same in my opinion, that some preachers should do. Okay? They should explain to you what hell is and how that if you're not saved, you will be going there. So even if you think about it. Scared straight. Do you want to go there and burn in hell? Well, no, of course not. Okay, well then get saved. On the other aspect of that, they're like, well, it's all about love and love, 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 love. Okay, well, yes, Jesus loves, God loves, and God forgives, yes. But what happens to those that don't repent and get saved? What happens to those? They get punished. They get sent to hell. So yes, an all-loving God will send you to hell if you don't accept the free gift of salvation. That's a fact. Why? Well, you're a sinner. You won't accept the free gift of salvation, so you won't accept it. It's a free gift. You declined it. So now you're covered in filthy sin. Your sins aren't washed away. Well, do you think God is going to have a guy covered in his filthy sin up there roaming around heaven? No. So what's your option? Your other option is hell. A place prepared for the devil and his angels. I mean, he doesn't want you to go there, but, it's your choice. But anyway, I don't know exactly how I got on that subject. But, this stuff going on in the world today, which is all over the news, all over X, lots of these people, I think majority of them are devils. They're paid propagandists. I mean, that's why you're going to see the globe on there. It's fake. Okay? Everything is designed to keep you mad, to keep you depressed, to keep you in turmoil. Ultimately, they want you on some type of pharmaceutical drug, and they want you to kill yourself. Okay? Either that or die from poisoning. That's what they want. Okay? This whole thing is designed for depopulation. That's all they talk about. That's all they've ever talked about. I mean, Bill Gates, in his little TED Talks, that's what he talks about. Depopulation. We have too many people around here. And we can work on that, with health, with health and vaccines. We can really get that population down. Really? So that's what your goal is. That's what their goal is. I mean, that's all he talks about is depopulation and dimming the sun. I mean, think about this for a second. Especially if you're one of these, I don't even know what you call them, liberals, I guess. Total left-wing wing nut. Okay. You want solar panels on your house, right? They're always talking to you about solar, so you go and get your solar panels. Okay, the solar panels will never produce enough electricity even to pay the payment on the solar panels, so you're even more in debt, which is what they want. But you bought into it, so you got your solar panels. And you think coal is bad, and you think natural gas is bad, and you think diesel is bad, and gasoline is bad. So you want to have you an electric car. Okay, there you go. Now you got your electric car. Now the battery in that car, killed no telling how many people to get, and has literally, of course, they mine for these batteries over in third world countries because it just decimates the ground and the land, poisons the streams, people getting killed. Hey, that's okay because green, let's go green. Okay, so let's pretend and put our blinders on and not look at what damage is being done. So we can pretend we're doing something. Okay, so now you got your electric vehicle. Hey, and maybe if you run around town, maybe electric vehicles for you. Okay, maybe. So now you don't want the government or whoever to supply your electricity to charge your vehicle. You don't want them to do that with coal or natural gas. You want them to do it with solar and wind. So let's rip everything out of, let's cut all the trees down. That's what Bill Gates wants to do now. Cut all of the trees down and bury them. That's no joke. These are the so-called scientists people are listening to. Okay? So we don't like carbon monoxide. Carbon is bad. But trees convert carbon to oxygen, so let's cut them down. Doesn't that make perfect sense? So anyway, so what they're doing here is they're getting you hooked on solar. Oh, solar, 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 solar. Okay? And now they're wanting to dim the sun. Think about that for a second. I literally read an article where a lady in California was talking about how she went fully solar, bought into this big deal, solar everything, electric everything. And guess what they're doing over there now? Dimming the sun. So she says after she got all this solar stuff, all of a sudden they started talking about dimming the sun, and now there's a haze over her house all the time, and she gets no more sunlight. Very little. Not enough to charge anything with her solar panels. So, I mean, think about that. You have these high and mighty people on TV. They're devils is all they are. They're devils. Liars and devils is what they are. Talking about how you need to go green. You need to get your solar panels. You need to do this. You need to do that. While they are jet setting around the world on private jets. They've got 10 mansions, okay? But you need to do this and you need to do that. Oh, and by the way, we're dimming the sun. Well, what good is a solar panel going to do if the sun has been dimmed? You see what I mean? And people are still buying into it. But these devils out here that want this sun dimmed, they know because if they can do this, number one, they're putting chemicals all up in the air that's doing the dimming. So these chemicals are going to come back down. They're going to rain back down on you and kill you and your kids. Slowly, probably, but will. It's going to rain down and kill your animals. It's going to rain down and get in all the soil. And so it's going to be in everything that you eat that's grown. But, if they can dim that sun enough, nothing's going to grow right anyway. So now we don't have anything growing. So you're going to be hungry. Well, that's perfect because we want you dead. So see, the chemicals are going to kill you, or you won't have anything to eat, so you're going to die. The list goes on and on. It's a depopulation program. And if that doesn't work, well, hey, here's some medicine you can take that you don't need, and you need to keep taking it until it kills you. People dropping dead like flies all over the earth. All over, athletes, you name it. Hey, look the other way. Don't worry about it. Just take some more medicine. Keep taking your medicine. Drink that medicine. Oh, what are we up to? 8, 10, 12? 8, 10, 12 doses of medicine? Just keep taking it. Because if you're still alive after the 8th or 10th one, then you need to take some more. Because, hey, death is right around the corner. So if you don't do that, then why don't you buy into this trans deal then? Okay? Why don't you, if you're a boy, why don't you cut everything off? If you're a girl, why don't you have everything cut out? And you'll feel better. Now, you're going to be on drugs the whole rest of your life. And you have nasty scars that look like something Victor Frankenstein came up with, okay? That's what you're going to look like. Your whole body's butchered. You're on medication for life that messes everything up in your whole body and shortens your lifespan. But you know what the key is? You can't reproduce. You cut everything out. So you're basically a eunuch. Perfect. Now you can't reproduce, so that helps, see? If we can get enough people on board, then they won't have any more kids because they're physically not able to. They've butchered themselves. That's going to help with our depopulation. And then whoever else wants to do it, well, let's put an abortion clinic up on every corner. And let's do a pill. And let's make the pill available in the mail. And let's send it out to everybody, whoever wants it, for free if we want to. And so if you get pregnant, just kill your baby. I mean, if they can get everybody in line like they want, oh, you're going to have depopulation. It's going to soar down because you're drinking poison, you're eating poison, you're injecting poison. And then the ones that aren't doing that, well, hey, cut your body all up. You can't reproduce. Or, sterilize yourself. You can't reproduce. Or if you can reproduce, immediately kill your offspring and sacrifice it to Moloch. I mean, perfect. Perfect. Let's let that population just scream down. Because after all, I mean, isn't that what the devil wants? The devil's in charge of this whole deal. I mean, you're a human being. Okay, God's creation. God created you, and the devil hates you. The devil wants you dead. Why? Because God loves you, and God wants you alive, so he wants you dead. It's just that simple. And if the devil can get you dead before you have time to get saved, well then, he gets to be with you in hell. Because he doesn't want to go to hell. The devil doesn't want to go to hell. The devil is not in hell right now. Okay, so forget these cartoons and these Hollywood movies that show the devil with a pitchfork down in hell and he's down there partying and he's like the king of hell. No. Hell is reserved for the devil and his angels. He doesn't want to go there. It's punishment. He will be tormented. He is locked up. He's going to be a prisoner there. Okay? And I'm sure he's going to make, if he could smile, which maybe he can down there, he's going to have him great satisfaction to know that you were dragged down there too. You could have been in heaven, with Jesus Christ, with God, your creator. But no, we turned all that down, so now we're in hell. So, hey, the world is going to be depopulated, but hell is going to be very populated. There's going to be a lot of people not understand why they're there. I guarantee it. There's going to be a ton of people that have no clue why they're there. They're going to be like, I don't understand why I'm here. I was a pretty good old boy. I took all my medicine. I did exactly what the government said. When they told me to turn my neighbor in for running his lawnmower, I did. I had my electric one. And, I turned my neighbor in whenever he was trying to run his hairdryer over there because I've got solar, I did everything they said. And, I wouldn't eat the meat either. I ate the fake meat from Bill Gates. The 3D printed meat, that's all I'd eat. I did everything they said, and I died. And I went to hell. It's like, well, you might think who you're following here on this earth. Okay? Everybody that's on the fake news and the television, which is, the television, which is tell you a vision, okay, are devils. If they're in Hollywood, they're a devil. Chances are, if they're a politician on TV, they're a liar and a devil. Okay? These people that are running the show out here have to do with all the crimes that you could ever imagine are being committed. They're committing. Okay? That's why they never go to jail for anything. Okay? I mean, they can literally get away with murder. Anything. And nobody's going to prosecute him because the prosecutor's in on it too. Once you get to a certain level in Satan's club, Satan's running it. You're safe. I mean, you're safe from any prosecution here. Now, you're not safe from the prosecution that you're going to get from God. When he dishes out his judgment, you're going to pay then. Oh, you're going to pay. And it doesn't matter who you were here on earth. Okay, so if you're Obama or Elvis or Marilyn Manson, whoever you think you are, like some big brand name, when you stand before the judgment seat of Christ, or the judgment seat, not judgment seat of Christ, you'll never make it there. But when you get judged at the white throne judgment, it says God is not a respecter of persons. So it doesn't make any difference how much money you had here, or if you're Bill Gates, or how many cars you had, or if you're the richest man in the world. God is no respecter of persons. It means nothing when it comes time for your judgment. And you will be judged on whether you accepted the free blood sacrifice of Jesus Christ. That's what you're going to be judged on. You know, all your sins will be revealed if you're not saved, and you will be judged on those sins in the books. The Lamb's Book of Life. Is your name there? No, you're done. Back to hell. I mean, you better think about that. You better think of that, and don't listen to devils like this. Okay? I remember when the devil like that got on there and was telling you what you need to do. You need to do it. Look, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. See, so you need to do it. Do it for your neighbor. Do it for your kids. Now, what he meant to say is do it so you'll be dead in 6 months. Do it so we can lower the population a little bit, because that's our agenda. And I'm not even the real guy. I'm a fake, dressed up looking, maked up clown. Look at me. I'm a fake clown. Okay? Listen to me. Don't listen. I'm going to give you some advice. Anything you hear from the government, from Hollywood, or Hellywood, or Hollyweird, and any of these so-called A-list actors, whatever they do and say, you better do the opposite. Okay? You better do the opposite. Everything they do is to mislead you, to try to get you away from God and keep you away from God. Everything. Okay? They're Hollywood movies. They're all satanic. They want you worshiping the devil. They want you thinking you're on a globe in outer space. They want you thinking you evolved. The list goes on and on and on. If there's something out there that will hurt your body, that's what they tell you to do. Okay, that's why all these Hollywood actors, their faces and stuff, they look like they crawled out of the grave, if you notice, most of them. They've got their big, fat, fake duck lips that are filled full of chemicals from China. They've got their skin all stretched back, wrinkle-free, with a bunch of chemicals that kill the nerves and stuff. I mean, just injections after injections after injections. And then when they get up to about 80, 90 years old, and, they should look like they're 80, then they get their face stretched and pulled, and it literally looks like something crawled out of the crypt. They look like something from Tales of the Crypt, okay? The Crypt Keeper. That's what they look like. They look like they've been dead for several years and kind of resuscitated up. They're not resurrected, but resuscitated, and they look like a zombie of some point, of something. If you want to see one of those resuscitation type deals, there's a lot of old movies that have these corpses that somebody dumps some chemicals on, and they come up out of the grave, and they're like, ah. That's what they look like. They think they look good, but they don't. So don't follow anything they do. It's a very bad path, and it's going to lead you down the road of destruction. Okay? Turn away from it before it's too late. That's all I would have to say about that. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this podcast up. As always, you can get in contact me through any of my websites. I've got 2 websites. It's flatbro.com, like my shirt here, and kennywilliamson.com, which is also truthseekersministry.org, but it's easier to type in kennywilliamson.com, I'm sure. If you want any of these shirts, I have several printed off. They're all extra larges, I believe. They're all extra large. I got some black and some gray. You will have to contact me because my little merch deal does not work. I can't understand what's going wrong with it. But anyway, if you're interested in any, let me know. If you're interested in any of my books that you'd like maybe signed and sent to you, let me know. I have some kids' books out now, in case you didn't know. This is the initial one that I wrote, Two Bugs in a Rug, Adventures of Lenny and Mott. Okay, cute little book. The second one I came out with is called Bug Soup, The Adventures of Lenny and Mott. And this third one is called The Monster in the Attic, Adventures of Lenny and Mott. This is something that I came up with many, many years ago when my daughter was a baby, and I was never able to get it done until recently. So it's a colored kids book, real easy to read. They're on Amazon. You can find them. Type in Kenny Williamson on Amazon. You can find them. You go to my website, thekennywilliamson.com. The links to them are at the bottom. Can't miss them. Interested in a shirt, let me know. But I'm uploading these videos now to Spotify. So this should be out on Spotify. Everywhere else, it'll be audio only. If you want to see the video portion with these pictures, I am going to upload it to YouTube. I'm going to upload it to Rumble. I'm going to upload it. Of course, it'll be on Spotify, and I may upload it to Patreon if I can get it to work. It hasn't worked here recently. Some reason I can't get anything uploaded to it. It just stalls out and never goes. So if you want to see the video, please check it out on Spotify. It's free. Everything's free. If you want any of this stuff, merch, books, hit me up. If you want any questions, comments, anything, tell me what you think of this thing, comment on Spotify especially, or on YouTube. I can see all of them. I try to answer them, and I'll try to answer them in person live as well. I'm fixing to get off of here. We've got a big storm rolling in, supposed to have tornadoes. So I need to get off here because I'm going to shut this computer down because I don't trust it on when we have that kind of storm. I'm afraid it's going to get electrocuted, So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Thanks for listening. Hope this helped you, and God bless you. See you later.